Just a second, Lily. Take a big deep breath. What is the topic on?
Like modern music.
Modern music. I just want to write Lily, modern music. Go ahead and write down Lily and modern music as well. Ah, yes. And let's give her a round of applause, please.
Bubble butt. Bubble, bubble, bubble butt. Bubble butt. Bubble, bubble, bubble butt. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lily Akapompisak, and although I won't be talking to you about bubble butts, I will be telling you about how the majority of modern music negatively influences their listeners, whether it be in the aspect of language or morals, hence bubble butt. Now, my TED Talk is titled Unpurposed and Unsophisticated, and I will begin. A very influential figure in our society once said, and I quote, 7 a.m., waking up in the morning. Gotta be fresh, gotta go downstairs. Gotta have my bowl, gotta have cereal. Now, if you aren't familiar with the story, it's the big enigma that Rebecca Black brought to our attention in 2011. In her song Friday, she not only explored the complications of eating cereal in the morning, but also picking which seat to take to school. The front seat, where her friends are kicking it, or the back seat. Now, whoa, Emmy, I know this is a very hard decision for you to make, but you need not waste your tears. Unlike many of us, Rebecca Black has the power to influence thousands of individuals, including me, a 16-year-old, my friends, my siblings, and maybe even my parents. Yet she wastes this potential power by informing us that Sunday comes after Saturday, which, shockingly, comes after Friday. Now, this song is only a mere example of the deterioration of modern music into a bunch of hollow words and phrases arranged in a catchy tune. In our society today, it is not rare to stumble upon lyrics that contain unimpressive messages. For example, I've been taught that hot girls have problems too, that Taylor Swift knew you, Mr. Krasinski, were trouble, and that Carly Rae Jepsen wants us to call her maybe. In our society today, it is very sad to think about how the lyrics of modern music aren't giving us the instruction that we deserve. In a rapidly evolving society, the youth need guidance. In their most vulnerable times, adolescents turn to music. However, children and teenagers aren't able to receive that kind of instruction from the songs that we, myself included, listen to. Instead of being given positive advice, we are enveloped into a world of hate and nonsense. According to a recent poll on debate.org, 63% of people believe that modern rap and pop music have a negative influence on children as it promotes arrogance, hypocrisy, sex, drugs, strip clubs, violence, fame, money, abuse, profanity, sex, drugs, alcohol, and sex again. Yet, not only are the messages that are being sent out by artists becoming harmful to our society, but the songs themselves are composed of lyrics that seem to diminish our language complexity. Just yesterday night, I was shaking my hips and bobbing my head to to Starships by Nicki Minaj, when I heard Nicki rapping. Now everybody let me hear you say Ray, Ray, Ray. Now spend all your money cause they pay, pay, pay. And if you a G, you a G, G, G. My name is Annika, you can call me Nikki. Now it might just be me, but why exactly would everyone want to say Ray, Ray, Ray? And what is a G? In Starships, Nicki Minaj uses words like hoopty-hoopty-hoop, which, thank goodness, aren't present in the English dictionary. These irrelevant words aren't allowing us to expand our vocabulary or our intellect. Rather, they're depreciating our acumen. When I was younger, music acted as my language tutor. Being bilingual, I used to listen to both English and Thai songs, which helped improve my language abilities almost as much as any teacher ever has. Yet, the sad fact is that this isn't possible now. how do we expect children to learn English from songs like Starships or Friday? If I had learned English from songs of this generation, it could be very possible that I come to you speaking like this. Sup everyone, name is my Lily. Ooh, la la hoopty hoop. Yeah. You dudes get my point? According to the New York Times, at this age, I've listened to approximately 14,600 hours of songs in my life. National studies in the UK have shown that an average person will have listened to 13 years of songs before they die. 13 years. And how many of these songs have conveyed a hateful or meaningless message? How many of these songs have presented us with senseless and ruleless language? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the answer to this question in the future lies with us. Although we may not be able to ask artists to start writing better music, we can look to ourselves as consumers. If we stop supporting music that negatively influences their audience and instead start supporting music that positively impacts their listeners, then we can convey our own message to artists, that we want songs full of meaning and sophisticated language. Now, I'm not asking you to stop listening to these so-called bad songs, because honestly, I won't even bother trying to get Friday out of my head. But what I am asking of you is to invest your money on music that deserves to be paid for. Music that influences listeners to become catalysts for change or help a friend out. Music that is full of structured sentences and sophisticated vocabulary. Music that is not like that of Friday or Starships. My dream is this. Instead of debating which seat to take, artists will spread the message of peace. Instead of jumping on a hoopty hoop, artists will jump on the opportunity to teach their listeners educated language. Instead of songs devoid of meaning, we'll have songs brimming with influential morals conveyed through sophisticated linguistics. And hopefully, I'll find myself bobbing my head to the latter. Thank you. In my TED Talk titled Unpurposed and Unsophisticated, my purpose was to inspire and motivate the audience to go out and support artists that they believe deserves to be paid for, whether it be in the fact that they positively influence their audience through language as well as the morals that the songs teach. Now, one of the techniques that I used in my TED Talk was humor. I developed a comical sense in my TED Talk because I thought that my claim was quite depressing, to be honest. Saying that our modern music is deteriorating is not exactly something that people want to be listening to. However, the purpose of my TED Talk was to inspire people and motivate them. So I decided to establish a light atmosphere or a light tone through the use of humor so that the audience would, towards the end of my TED Talk, feel uplifted and motivated instead of feeling hopeless. Next, I used personal anecdotes in my TED Talk. So for example, I talked about how when I was younger, music acted as my language tutor because I was bilingual. And I thought that I should use personal anecdotes because it kind of it establishes my ethos, as it shows that I know what I'm talking about and that I too am a victim of the influence of music. And however, I am a victim, or I am an example of how music has positively influenced someone, and that in that way I can relate to the topic that I'm talking about, and that is the future that I want modern music to be like. Next, I used rhetorical questions in my TED Talk. I would say questions like, how many of these songs have conveyed a hateful or meaningless message? How many of these songs have presented us with ruleless vocabulary? Now, I use rhetorical questions to evoke reflection in the audience. I wanted them to ask the questions in their minds as well. And although in my TED Talk I didn't exactly answer the question, I indirectly answered them by saying that the answer to the question lies with us. Now I answered with this so that I could tell them that we have the power to change the music industry. I wanted to use rhetorical questions and subtly answer them to show that we can become catalysts for change, and that way I could motivate my audience and inspire them to do what I want them to do. Lastly, I used parallelism in my TED Talk. In the end, I said, instead of debating which seat to take, artists will spread the message of peace. And I repeated that sentence 3 times by comparing and contrasting the characteristics of positively influencing music and negatively influencing music. And by putting these 2 characteristics side by side, I let the audience compare themselves the difference between the 2, and I let them be able to envision a future where modern music has the characteristics of the second part of my sentence. So hopefully through my TED Talk, I hope that you guys were able to envision a future where the majority of modern music positively influences their audience. And I just want to end with a final note, which is bubble butt. Thank you.
Who's up third? Who's up third? Okay, Joe, can you go out and get Sarah? And questions for Lily as we transition.